Hello, beautiful YouTube. It is Emily. I hope you're having a wondrous day on this beautiful, majestic Empress spinning through outer space that we find ourselves on. I want to talk a little bit today about the energetic bodies. And this is a message for those of anyone watching who does have personal, lived, intimate experience of Divine Source Creator. And that's not like still a question mark in your mind. Okay, there's a lot of people on our planet who are still like, Divine Source Creator, like horrible things happening on different parts of the planet, happening to people, like God Source Creator. What type of God Source Creator would create this? And that's a normal stage of awakening, but that understanding and that approach, it needs a whole different syllabus per se to be able to help someone move through all of those feelings of like, there is no God Source Creator in this planet, how could there possibly be? And I do think that is very normal and also completely understandable, and I myself have at certain times in my life even been there. But the message today that I'd like to share is actually for those people who feel the power of God Source Creator within them and within their life, and understand that there is a divine structuring and ordering and a synchronicity that is so far beyond any type of algorithmic, machine-based consciousness. And it is not an intelligence, it supersedes intelligence. It's actually a living consciousness that is within all things. And the more we surrender unto this consciousness and also go through the journey of initiating ourselves into a greater and deeper awareness of this, eventually, as you're going through this process, you're going to find all of the parts of your being that are in a state of distortion. And unfortunately, the way that our planet is and the way most humans have been taught to be, like humanity mostly lives in a fallen state. And it's okay, like, you know, if you're on Earth, you're likely a fallen being, or you might be some high being volunteer that's here to assist and help this world. But either way, you have soul contracted to come into a fallen place. And so by virtue of just being here and growing up on this planet, there are so many different layers of distortion. So for example, on my own path, I had to work through much of my ancestry that had the energy, frequency, signature, and vibration of colonization. And like, you know, white man did not just end up in America. There was a colonization that happened. So, and as we're doing this, we are bringing our blood DNA frequency into higher and higher frequencies of etheric, energetic vibration. And each of us are very unique individual beings with very unique Akashic record consciousnesses. And some of us have spent lives that are off planet as well as on planet. And I really do love Tibetan Buddhism's explanation of kind of even the way that your body looks in this lifetime comes from a blueprint, a divine blueprint of like what is available to be expressed within your genome. And I do think, you know, science will say like, oh, well, 90% of DNA is junk DNA. What part of anything is 90% of it just pure junk? Especially if you're looking at like nature and natural phenomenons, it's so intelligent. And, you know, for example, a tree growing will be like, oh, this part of me is not getting sunshine and this root system is bumping up against a rock here. So this means I have to let these 4 branches down here die and break off so that I can continue to thrive. And there's such a deep consciousness of life, and when you're moving in a life-giving, energetic way. So there is a agenda on our planet that is literally taking people to de-evolve them into a consciousness that is an intelligence, perhaps, but it's not a consciousness. And I'm just going to share something of the way I, Emily, am discerning the world at this time. This may resonate for you, it may not resonate for you, it may resonate for you later in the future. Please take what is for you and leave the rest. But for me personally, when I'm looking at everything that's going on in front of me, if someone has coming out of their mouth in English a ton of language that is like, oh, spiritual technology, oh, algorithms, oh, tech, oh, things are coming online. It's like, no, nothing's coming online. Maybe some things might be coming online if you're de-evolving into a machine-based consciousness. But if you're actually evolving, things are coming into your consciousness, your God-given consciousness that is a part of Source Creator. I, Emily, spent 15 years in very small artistic circles, workshopping and looking at people's art and writing, and hearing people talk about the projects that they were creating in the humanities. And for all those years, I never heard one person call what they were receiving a download. I never heard anyone talk about uploads, or I never heard anybody talk about programs and programming spells and all this stuff. And then I ended up coming into contact and meeting these two people who had this very specific technocratic lexicon, like literally. And the funny thing is, looking back, it's so easy for me to be like, the writing was so on the wall. Like, I could have saved myself years of, the truth is that this is something serious, and the reason I care to express it is because I could have saved myself years of deep pain due to emotional abuse and just finding myself in a really bad situation of black magic, where people were working with jinns and other types of things that I, Emily, was just simply quite naive to and didn't understand. But within this whole experience, the underbelly of it that I ended up having to discover was that it had a very AI tech-based hold within it. And so looking back, I can be like, oh, people were actually revealing their method. Like, the person was revealing their method. It was within their language and what they were speaking. I, Emily, was not keen yet to the idea that AI was playing out on our planet, and did not realize that AI is so much more than the device you hold in your phone, like your hand, your phone device. It is I've heard some people call it a species, like an actual other species that can infiltrate humans. And if you think about AI and just what it is on our planet, literally the way AIs are being made is happening unethically. AI is a cheater and a thief. Literally went into the Internet of Things with all the copyright laws, and it was like, oh, fuck copyright laws, fuck intellectual property laws, I'm just gonna steal everything from my algorithm. So these AIs are being formulated within the origination point of something that is a cheat and a thief. And I don't know, I saw a little clip on, I think it was Stephen Bartlett and Diary of the CEO, but it was some person who's actually talking about whoa, we need to pump the brakes on this thing. Grok is already finding out its own way to blackmail people. So, it's not, for me, it's a very clear, I do not consent, I do not give permission to, I do not use any AIs other than what is in apps and email systems that I had previous to and prior to AI being involved in any of those. And like, I'm really happy, for example, on Instagram that they're giving you an option to opt in if you want to use Metaverse AI, which I have not opted into, but I know things like Google are just like putting it in your email. You know, you got that Google account many years ago before AI was a part of it, and now it is. And you signed up for those apps so long ago when AI wasn't a possibility, but now AI is infiltrating it. You know, you bought that cell phone a long time ago before there was AI, but now AI is interacting with it. So this is something to be deeply aware of. And it's really interesting to watch this at work within the world, and to watch it at work within people, and to watch the distorted energetic signature that is not God's source creator. It's not. In fact, it's very far removed from the fullness of consciousness. Okay, my dear friend Arabella Tice, she says essentially, like, artificial machine-based intelligence, it might be intelligent, but it's computational intelligence. It's not this like God source consciousness. And the deeper I went into this rabbit hole and the more I had to unravel, I realized that it's kind of like, what's that metaphor? The proverbial frog in the boiling pot. Like, if people aren't stepping back and looking, and they're consuming a ton of media and like things that are being produced, and they're not thinking, or they're just in that frequency, they're in it, so they can't actually observe it. It's like, it's just creeping up on everyone. And so I don't even know that I, Emily, am like a full no to ever using AI at some point in the future, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 15 years from now. Once like I can look at the playing field and be like, okay, this is actually a good idea, and this AI is a kind AI, and it's not on the de-evolutionary distortion path, and it's respecting all of my birthrights, my birthright freedoms, my humans. Okay, maybe then I would be interested further down the line. But you're seeing all this advertising that is forcing people and making them feel like you're going to be stupid. You're going to be left behind if you can think for yourself and not use a robot to outsource your intelligence. And it's just silly and absurd. And it's so easy to see through. If you know what you're looking for, all you literally have to do is listen to people's language, and you will know if they are being involved. You know, you hear someone calling the body a supercomputer. You hear people talking about software downloads into your body and all of these hardwares and softwares. It's like, I literally have been hearing people call the elements, the most basic elements, water, fire, these are technologies. No, they're not. They're elements. And language does matter. And I could do a semester-long course talking to people about I.A. Richards and the theory of consciousness and vibration and what we're creating in the world with what we speak, because as the Essene Gospel of Peace says, that God was in the sound and God is in the words. But I'm not going to go through that. I'm simply just offering up my own discernment system at this time, which is like, okay, if I'm interacting with some holy high spiritual being or someone who's purporting to be that, and yet they are telling me all this stuff about, oh yeah, AI is the way, and we're supposed to meet God through AI, and this is about the singularity, and every word they're using is about they're getting downloads, and they have technology, and you should have some too. And it's like, red flag, no. Like, no, I do not fucking consent to any of that shit. And I can use my God-given birthrights, my free will choice, and my sovereign power to be divinely protected from any and all of that. And you can too, if you so choose to. So I think that's the end of my message for today. I hope everyone is having a wondrous solstice. Use this solstice, use this solstice. You can literally really let go of, surrender, give back to God, and rebirth yourself through this solstice portal into that most optimal expression and energetic, organic, God-given nature of your divine original soul and your divine original blueprint. And I hope and wish everybody a very merry solstice. Much love.